Peace, peace. Happy now. Now is the vibrate, of course. Not going too far in the future. Not going too far in the past. Right now, I'm about to deal with a concept of like, kind of just proof of why like God in the sense, because there is no like when we think about God or source, like this is all just aspects of us. Again, just how I just did this video about myths and how we personify you know certain energies. That's just for us to grasp in this earthly plane on in our little human bodies to conceptualize and intellectualize something that's of higher dimensions and be real with yourself, eternal. But like use the aspect, not so much this little layout right here, but using like showing you this one circle of consciousness, where you got the little dot by itself. As a matter of fact, I got this in my left Frodo book. The little one dot, of consciousness, and then the circle that forms around it, which this is parentheses, but again, like, well, the full circle. Matter of fact, go back to it. So, it's like, this is that one little, how can I say, little center or focus area of consciousness, and then it expand that conscious awareness, or that consciousness is in this area, and this conscious awareness expands this far out, and since consciousness expands this far out, the next place it could move from here is the furthest its consciousness has been out this way, so it could go to this furthest point right here, stop, and then reaches consciousness out from this point, and then you get another circle like this. And so when we talk about, because it could get confused, I'm pretty sure it's like there's no beginning or end, energy cannot be created nor destroyed, well then why everybody keep bringing up this, God was a female first, or the feminine energy come first. Again, just on the as above so below aspect, of this is the consciousness awareness. When it started to expand itself, it expanded itself into female form first and foremost. And just when I say female form, again, not thinking about no woman, but feminine energy, in the essence of, like, when it expanded to the second circle, not only giving itself a chance to be aware of this other spot it just moved from, but it also created a vesica Pisces, like a vagina, this portal. Also two breasts, or buttocks, or buttocks, or ass, however you want to say it, but this is breastises, this is an ass, this is a vagina right here, you know what I'm saying? So the reason why, and then down to a third area where you could get like two testicles, and which this picture wouldn't give it, but more so like in this, in essence, like two testicles and a phallus, or two testicles and a phallus, but just first and foremost, you got the vesica Pisces, so that feminine energy, which came, first and foremost, as a matter of fact, also tied to the Sephiroth. But again, from darkness, let there be visible light, and what we consider light, again, like Lucifer, that masculine energy, you know what I'm saying? Fiery energy, or solar phallic energy. We talk about Papa Legba, solar phallic energy. But from that darkness, that's the middle of the Taurus field, the darkness of the womb, aka the judgment pillar, Boaz, Yin, You know, matter of fact, Ophiuchus. Ophiuchus is, you know, in between Scorpio and Sagittarius, and also is considered the middle of the galaxy, you know, and also considered the only sign that I think that is masculine and feminine, you know. But you see, that expansion, you know, from one spot to the other. Again, I wrote right there like two nipples. And expanding from the middle of the torus field in the arithmetic sequence of the golden mean ratio. And let's see. Matter of fact, the shout out to the flight boss, Archangel Uriel, because he said something about like with, you know, father. He didn't fully go through with it, but I felt like it might have some sauce to it. In essence, what I caught from it is to make sure that when I'm explaining dealing with the torus field and stuff like that, to also make sure I'm explaining that in essence, like when we building up our torus field, like just like how our existence just again is just about making sure that you know, our hearts weigh lighter than that feather. At the end of the day, you want to leave from this place knowing that it's a matrix. So, you know, with that being said, like not getting caught up, like when I talk about like the you know, the plasma field, making sure we having bliss experiences, activating the torus field. We're not doing that from a place of like obligation. Like you should be doing that from a place of it feels good for me to do this, and you know, to have that knowledge though that, you know, again, this is just activities that I'm participating in while in this physical matrix. To just not overly take this to heart, you know what I'm saying? That's what I got from that concept. So like with the concept of like the science of the torus field and stuff like that, I get what he was saying, where, you know, that basic science in essence comes from the science of the one who created this matrix, you know what I'm saying? And again, the director of this movie, and the director of this movie is not necessarily the God over everything, you know. Like again, like as above so below, after we finish acting in this movie and we leave the set, this director ain't got shit to deal with what we do when we go home, you know what I'm saying? So with more so that aspect, like, you know, dealing with the toroidal field and the golden mean ratio, you know, it's just more so science of this matrix, you know, and not necessarily science that's like which it may have and I say may, I know it has truths in it, you know, but again, it's also information that is a part of this matrix as well. So, you know, just being aware of that while we, you know, dealing with this information and working with you know, expanding our torus field and things of this nature. Because that's one thing though I do know, it is like, again, not taking things to heart or feeling like you're overly obligated to anything. But again, that's just me, where I feel like the vibe of where I just feel the importance of, you know, raising my vibration and keeping a certain vibrational frequency within my body, and also like again raising the level of light in my body in essence, in order to, you know, ascend to, I'm trying to put it into words. But I just know that dealing with our ascension process, there is some truth to us. Again, doing certain exercises right now in the physical that will help benefit our soul in this movement out of this, you know, physical realm. So there's some teachings that are you know, again, trying to keep you in this physical realm. But then some of them are really, you know, really teaching you how to expand, you know, and get to a place where you don't, you know, you no longer have to exist in this movie. You no longer have to act in this role you're playing. But again, just expansion of the circle. You see, that's why again, the flower of life represents unconditional love, because it's a representation of constructive wave interference. When waves expand in the torus field, in the arithmetic algorithm of the golden mean ratio, it allows for waves to expand infinitely, imploding and exploding without destructive wave interference, which will cause the waves to flatline literally and figuratively. You know. Again, I do feel like that's something to that energy. But also I want to show, and I did this show this little concept for like, but basically like what they don't show us about the flower of life. I mean, the tree of life. You know, each. Let's see. Except for Keitha, but you know, you see like Malkut on the tree of life, how Malkut doesn't have a parent like what this is, Banat and Chakma, you know, parents of Da'at. Da'at would be right here, you know. What this is, I still don't know by heart. Jebera and Chesed are the parents of Tiferet. So these two, the parents of this one. You know, these two, the parents of this one. You see that go down. So Had and Nizak, the parents of Yasad. But then nothing is the parents of Malkut. And you know, basically like showing how Malkut doesn't have no parents, or two, trying to personify us not being connected to, you know, our higher energy, you know. And again, we call these things parents and gods and all this, you know, in essence, again, to just conceptualize energies, you know what I'm saying, and the movement of them. And until you put the tree of life with the flower of life pattern, and you will see where the two parent Sephirots of Malkut belong. So, like if you did like a little figure, like the flower, like, you know, like the beginning parts of it, with just the 4 and 2, you see Malkut, you know, 6, like the 666 of the cube. You know, a cube is 6-sided. So basically, like in essence, a hexagram. And also, you know, it's a cube is made out of a square. A square is a 4-sided shape. You know, 4 plus 6 equals 10. You know, see that correlation, and then you see it for like a foundation. But like the two parent Sephirots, you know, are invisible when you're just looking at the tree of life by itself. But you know, it's there when you implement the flower of life energy in that area. Matter of fact, this was blessings to Dr. Phil Valentine for exposing me to this concept. And also the Temple of Abydos is where you could find the hieroglyphs of the flower of life. You know. Again, this is just how these energies move. So when we think about, like, again, where it's like know, God is a woman or God is the, like, nah, it's the consciousness movement or the movement of consciousness. That's it, you know. I mean, it's not necessarily you know, a God in that realm of it. You know, we have like this, you know, collective all that is consciousness, you know, but it's all, you know, it's on an extremely expansive level, you know what I'm saying? Again, that which should not be named, you know. What we mostly dealing with is a God of this particular realm, you know, and making sure we don't fall victim to, you know, this God's trickery, you know. But again, just understanding certain little concepts to help us, you know, grasp, you know, deeper aha moments. But again, you see that one single consciousness and expanding this consciousness awareness out to the farthest it can, and on to the next spot. And then you see you get to what it is. One, two, three, four, five, six, seven. No, also kind of like representing the 7 days of creation, quote unquote creation. This little small thing. I think in this form it's called like the seed of life, not the flower of life. Flower is more fuller. But that's where you get, you know, just consciousness expanding itself. And I realized something too about the icosahedron. Icosahedron, no matter what side it's on, I feel like icosahedron is the best thing to, the best shape to travel in. You know, like how Merkaba is around our body, you know, and it's a light body for traveling. Like, you know, it's a, because in essence too, like with crystal lattices, you know, like when I'm working with a Danbarite or a petalite, you know, I'm actually tapping into a certain dimension because of the, you know, the geometric shape or the molecular structure of these certain crystals. And so, you know, that's how our consciousness moves through these geometric shapes in essence. But the icosahedron, you know, where you could see whether it's on this side or it could be, this could be the top. You know, this could be considered the top. This could be considered the top. You know, this point that's kind of facing towards it could be considered the top. You know, like it could perfectly be viewed from any other perspective, but with that same type of perspective that makes sense. You know, like this again where any side could be up or down and it still look the same in essence. And it's basically like a pentagon with some triangles, or should I say some triangles coming together. I'm trying to see pentagon. I want to say it's eight triangles going around, but I digress. Matter of fact, I used to have this book. I think it was the quadrant. I might have brought it up in one of my videos, but and always be always with dealing with any literature, you know, you want to make sure you're following your heart, not just listening to everything a book may say just because, you know, your subconscious program to feel like you're not as smart as somebody writing a book. Like, yes, you are. You know, you may be the person to write the next book that changes the world. You know what I'm saying? And it's not gonna come from you directly following the words of somebody else. You know, it's gonna come from something like you tapping into your own inner energy and insight and bringing the world something, you know, quote unquote, new, or something that we haven't seen in you know, in this lifetime yet. You know, bringing revamping something. However, but you know, yeah, just be careful when you're reading. You know, any scientific literature, stuff like that. You know, make sure it's resonating with you fully, because it could just be another form of you taking in, you know, something else ideas. You know, in essence, being ran against your free will, or you more so just dealing with this concept because you think that, again, like the person who wrote this book have to be smarter than me. You know, get out of that subconscious mind frame again. Like I said it countless amount of times, you know, much love to you know, to the Dr. Sebes and Dick Gregory's and, you know, all the ancestors that came before us. You know, much love to them. But a lot of their works, you know, is not the end all be all, you know, for our work here in this physical plane. Like, it's gonna be other people that's gonna tap into even more information dealing with, you know, certain fruits and vegetables, or even more information about the stars, or even more information about how the body and chakras work. You know, it, just like the fact that there always has been new literature written by somebody throughout time. You know, throughout times, is a realization of that fact that, you know, again, as much as somebody may have been the authority on a certain area of information and this and that, and happen to be extremely correct in their information, doesn't mean that they got all of that information or all of that insight. You know, it's like, it's still more info and more things that we don't know. That's why we be like, as much as I know, you know, I don't know as much. You know what I'm saying? Like, because it's still information that's untapped. You know, that hasn't been tapped into yet. You know, so be aware of that. Again, just wanted to get into that concept of seeing, you know, what the idea of, you know, the universe being feminine, you know, first, and how could you say even first? Again, it's not necessarily no beginning or end, but just with that expansion of consciousness, you know, start from one place. When it expands, you know, from that one to again, conceptualize one to the two, what we call two. You know, it creates you know, feminine energy. You know, the vesica Pisces, two breasts, the ass. You know, like that whole structure. You know, matter of fact, reason why, you know, men, we got nipples, because we started off as, you know, again, we are a personification of energies, and to personify that energy, like what I just showed y'all, you know, we are all born with nipples because we are first and foremost a feminine energy, and then after that, you know, it's like, you could say, like, energy scan the area. Like, you know, do we need more people picking up things and being masculine? You know, all right, then I forgot, it's like cutting the X chromosome into a Y chromosome, and then you get a male, something like that. I can't, don't quote me on that. But you know, and then it's like, all right, gonna give this female, turn this female embryo into something masculine. But again, and once we are, and that's where the confusion, you know, will try to come in, where again these people are promoting, you know, to each his own on your sexual orientation, but again the government promoting these homosexual vibes, so they may take you know, a story like that, try to flip it and to say, oh, you see, it's like, but nah, you know, and at the end of the day, man, you know, we all see that in order to bring life into, you know, into the physical existence. It takes intercourse, you know, point blank period. Not knocking nobody's sexual orientation, but even people who are homosexual, you know, in their sexual orientation, got here because their parents weren't, you know. So you know, they have heterosexualness to thank for their homosexuality. You know, the irony of this universe is so beautiful. But peace. Have it now. Now the vibrate, of course. Not too far in the future. Not too far in the past. Right now. Peace.